Hybrid functional appliances. For decades, we've been told that we can grow mandibles to fix a Class 2 malocclusion. We've tortured teenagers with headgear and debated the magic of rigid functional appliances. But here is the clinical reality. Research has shown that the Herbst, as with other functional appliances, does not grow mandibles. It produces a headgear effect by distalizing the maxillary molars and restricting maxillary growth. So, if we aren't growing bone, how do we efficiently correct a Class 2 without relying on a teenager's notoriously bad compliance with headgear? The answer lies in the evolution of biomechanics, hybrid functional appliances. Welcome to this masterclass. Meet the hybrids, the SUS versus Forsus. Let's break down the engineering. Fixed functional appliances are grouped into rigid, flexible, and hybrid. Unlike rigid appliances like the Herbst that lack flexibility, hybrid appliances contain the features of both rigid and flexible systems. They are spring-loaded, allowing for greater mandibular flexibility. Our primary focus today is the Sabbagh Universal Spring, or SUS. Externally, it looks like a Herbst, featuring a telescopic rod fitted into a guide tube. But inside that tube is an adjustable spring delivering tailored force levels. Crucially, unlike the Forsus device which has a specific left and right pushrod, the SUS is a true universal spring. There is no left or right. You tie the lower end to the arch wire between the canine and premolar, and the U-loop fits into the maxillary first molar, the second molar trap and mandibular anchorage. Now, let's talk clinical pitfalls. When we apply the SUS, it delivers an intrusive force to the maxillary buccal segments. If your patient's maxillary second molars have erupted, you must extend the arch wire to include them. Failure to do so will result in a severe second-order step-down discrepancy between the first and second molars, as the first molars push distally and intruded. And what about the lower arch? Because the appliance pushes against the anterior segment, you risk severe proclination of the mandibular incisors. Your biomechanical countermeasure? You must use a rigid, full-size stainless steel wire in the mandibular arch. I also highly recommend placing an omega loop mesial to the mandibular molars to tie back the entire arch. If you skip this tie back, your patient will develop spacing between the lower first premolars and canines. The non-extraction space creation hack. Here is where the SUS becomes a phenomenal tool for non-extraction cases. Let's say you have a Class 2 patient with severe maxillary crowding and blocked out canines. You do not need to create space for those blocked out teeth before delivering the SUS. You bypass the canines entirely. Place your maxillary arch wire from the second molar to the second premolar. As the SUS drives the maxillary molars distally, space opens up initially between the first molars and second premolars, and then between the premolars and canines. The space for your crowded teeth is created dynamically during distalization. The average time to correct the Class 2 relationship is just 3 to 4 months, giving you rapid space to drop those canines in. Maximum anchorage control. Finally, let's look at complex extraction mechanics. In cases requiring extraction of upper first premolars and lower second premolars, you often need maximum retraction of the upper anterior segment, Group A, anchorage, and protraction of the lower posterior segment, Group C, anchorage. The SUS is your anchor. By placing the devices on both sides, you can initiate en masse retraction of the maxillary arch using coil springs, while simultaneously protracting the mandibular molars. But a word of caution, when using hybrids for heavy anchorage or non-extraction distalization, monitor your patients closely. They can rapidly shift from a Class 2 into a Class 3 overcorrection if left unchecked. Conclusion and comprehension. Check. To summarize, hybrid appliances rely on dental-alveolar changes and molar distalization, not magic mandibular bone growth. Always bracket the second molars to prevent vertical extrusion and secure your lower arch with full-size steel and tiebacks to fight incisor flaring. Before you go, let's test your understanding of today's clinical protocols. 1. Why is it clinically dangerous to leave an erupted maxillary second molar unbonded when applying the Sabbagh Universal Spring? 2. When managing a blocked-out maxillary canine with the SUS, why do we bypass the canine with the initial arch wire? 3. What specific wire features are required in the mandibular arch to counteract the proclination forces of hybrid appliances? Reflect on these questions as you plan your next Class 2 setup. Thank you for joining this masterclass. Keep your margins healthy, and I'll see you in the next clinical deep dive.